He told me time was a door, and that in Black Hollow the door had been left wide open. What I found inside that house still follows me, in mirrors, in dreams, in the ticking silence between seconds. In the winter of 1847, I received a letter from a man I had not heard from in over 15 years. The envelope, weather-stained and sealed with red wax, bore the trembling signature of Dr. Elias Morland, once my mentor at the Royal Edinburgh College, now a name I associated only with rumors of disgrace and obsession. The handwriting, once firm and practiced, now seemed frantic, as though scrawled by a hand at war with itself. Julian, I beg you, for the sake of all that is left of my reason, come to Black Hollow. I am on the edge of revelation or damnation. What I have found beneath the floorboards must be witnessed. You once said truth was worth any price. Come see what the price truly is. E.M. It was a name I hadn't uttered aloud in years, but my heart knew it well. Curiosity, that immortal sin of the scholar, surged in my chest. I packed a small valise and boarded the train south, bound for the moors of northern Shropshire, where the mist lies like a living veil and the trees seem to whisper in voices not their own. To Black Hollow. The village was smaller than I remembered. A single row of cottages slouched under the weight of time, clustered like old men in mourning around the foot of the hill. Atop that hill, crooked against a pale and dying sky, stood the Morland estate, a stone husk of a house called Black Hollow Hall. I recall the peculiar chill that overtook me as I approached, not merely the cold of winter, but a stillness that seemed to echo from the very soil, as though the land itself were holding its breath. A child stared at me from behind a wrought iron gate, her face pallid, her eyes void of curiosity. When I nodded a greeting, she merely raised a finger to her lips. Silence, it seemed to say. It hears you. The housekeeper, Mrs. Lorne, greeted me at the door with no warmth. He's waiting for you in the library, she muttered, not meeting my eyes. But mind you, sir, he's not as he was. 3. The Hourglass. I found Morland in a high-backed chair before a fire that gave no heat. His figure had shriveled. His face was waxen hollow-eyed. Books lay scattered about him like leaves in a storm. On a table beside him stood a peculiar hourglass, tall, ornate, with jet-black sand that seemed to shimmer as it fell. He greeted me with a weak smile. "Julian," he croaked, "I knew you'd come. You always wanted to understand the nature of time. I came because your letter disturbed me," I said. "What have you found?" He gestured feebly toward the hourglass. "It is not what I found. It is what found me." He would not speak more that night, merely sat stroking the glass and watching the sand descend with the reverence of a monk. I retired uneasy, disturbed by the silent, ceaseless ticking that seemed to echo through the halls, though no clocks ran within the house. The descent. Over the following days, I discovered pieces of his unraveling mind. The hourglass had been unearthed during renovations to the west wing. Beneath the rotted floorboards lay a sealed cavity, lined with bones and crude runes etched into blackened stone. The hourglass stood at the center, untouched by time, cold to the touch and impossible to break. The local workers refused to handle it, claiming they heard whispers in the walls when they drew near. "I have tested it," Morland confided, "and I am certain the sand within runs not by gravity but by intent. It answers the mind." Indeed, I observed that the sand did not flow consistently. Sometimes it halted altogether, hanging in the glass like smoke frozen mid-swirl. At other times it poured like water in flood, and always Morland watched. He believed, no, knew that the glass could affect time itself. He said he had experienced moments of memory so vivid they became real, and glimpses of futures that had not yet come to pass. But the more he used it, the more the house changed. Doors led to different places. Shadows lingered after the light was gone. I heard a sobbing behind the walls and once found my journal open to pages I had not written. "Time is no longer a line," he whispered one night. "It is a maze, and I have become its rat." Fee, the woman in the mirror. One night, I was drawn to the music room by a sound like a harp being tuned in reverse. There I saw her, tall, gaunt, draped in silks the color of mildew, She stood before the long mirror that hung above the harpsichord, her back to me. Her hair was white and floating, though no wind stirred. I called out, but she did not turn. Instead, the mirror did. Not the frame, but the reflection itself. It shifted sideways, revealing her face. Her eyes were sockets. Her mouth was filled with black sand. She reached toward the glass and I fled. Moreland, when told, merely nodded. She is the archivist, the keeper of moments. She comes when you've seen too much. I begged him to destroy the hourglass. He laughed, dry, wheezing laughter. She's in the hourglass, he said. Break it and she's free. Fake collapse. The storm struck on the 7th day. Lightning clawed at the hill and the house moaned like a dying animal. Doors slammed themselves. Books flew from shelves. I found Mrs. Lorne in the pantry, her eyes torn out, her fingernails caked with black sand. She had written on the wall in her own blood, "No time, no time, no time." Moreland had locked himself in the library. I broke the door and found him kneeling before the hourglass, now cracked and hissing. The sand boiled. "I went too far," he whispered. "I saw the end. It is not death, it is repetition." He pressed the hourglass into my hands. "You must take it away. Hide it, the archivist. She will follow, but she cannot cross oceans. Go." Before I could speak, the mirror above the fireplace fractured. From within crawled the woman, limbs too long, skin like wax melted and reformed. Her eyes swam with sand. Moreland screamed as she took him, not with claws or violence, but with time. He aged in seconds. Skin shriveled, hair whitened, bones cracked. In less than a minute, only dust remained. The woman looked at me. Then she smiled. "Sank escape?" I fled. Through wind and ruin, I descended the hill, clutching the hourglass. The village was empty. Every window held a candle, each flame frozen in mid-flicker. Even the birds hung motionless in the air, wings outstretched like forgotten toys. Only when I crossed the bridge at the edge of town did the world resume. Birds shrieked and flew. The wind resumed. A child cried. I boarded the next train to London, never once letting the hourglass out of sight. Wait, the final note. It has been 3 years. I keep the hourglass hidden in a vault beneath St. Paul's crypt, where no mirrors are allowed and time is measured only by breath and blood. Still I feel her, in dreams and reflections, in moments that skip and rewind like faulty reels of film. I have never turned the hourglass over again. But sometimes I swear I see the sand rising. They never found the house again. Black Hollow was swallowed by the moor, or perhaps it slipped, somewhere else entirely, into the maze behind the ticking. I've locked the hourglass away, beneath stone, beneath salt, beneath every ancient name that was meant to keep such things asleep. But some nights when the city is quiet and every clock has stopped, I hear it again, the soft hiss of sand pouring from nowhere. And when I look into the mirror, it's not always me looking back. So if you ever find a dusty old hourglass with black sand inside, don't touch it. Don't flip it. Don't ask what it is, because she'll come for you next. And time won't be yours anymore. The end.